Hello and welcome to Be Here Now, where presence invites perspective and allows peace. Our topic today is fighting it feeds it. And we are coming to you live on newstreamingnetwork.com. I did that out of order. Sorry, Severia. WGSN-DB Going Solo Network Radio and Podcast. I am your co-host, Judy Forder, and I am here with my co-host in peace, Miss
Janice Leonard. Hey, everybody. So glad to have you here. I didn't do my noise thing. So thank you. Thanks for being here. Judy and I do this every week, and we do it because we're on a journey to be happier, healthier, more at peace, love ourselves more, love people more. And we just want to share with you the journey, the tools, the stories, and we hope that you too will get some peace and love out of it as well. We are a nonprofit 501c3. If you are interested, head on over to our website, peacefulempowermentworks.org. And we have a tab on the top with all the shows. So if you want to see one of our past shows or you missed a show, that you can find them all there. And also at the top of the screen, front page, and the bottom is a donate button. If you're able to, donations are tax deductible. It'd be great. Otherwise, we appreciate your liking. What's the other one? Like, comment, and subscribe. There we go. Thank you. Oh, share. Thank you. Oh, Silverio, you're great. And we appreciate your support.
Awesome. All right. Miss Janice, would you like to ring us in, please?
Oh, yeah. I thought you could hear it much better if I moved my microphone because I listened to last week's show and I was like, it's not that good. So,
and I feel like you can tell how much your PT's been helping because,
yeah, it's true. And it was so painful. This time, it was not painful.
Awesome. Fantastic. Okay, so we're going to dive right into this fighting it feeds it. Now, first thing that came to mind was good old Albert Einstein. Like what Janice and I talk about on this show, it's not new. It's been out there forever. It's been forgotten. And Albert Einstein was quoted saying, "We cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used when we created them." And that was important to me because then, if we go to the next slide, when I started this inward search of healing for myself, I was told trauma cannot be healed in the same energy in which it was created. And that is something that has stuck with me through this process. And that's where the fighting it feeds it concept all came about, was the reality that a lot of all of the trauma that we have all experienced was experienced in a state of fear. So if it's created in fear, we can't be in a state of fear when we try to heal that. We have to shift to a different energy. And that's why Janice and I talk a lot about being aware. Once you're aware of it, then you can make decisions moving forward, because we've been on autopilot for so long that we just rinse and repeat the patterns that we learned in survival. And making that transition out of survival mode and deciding to get curious brings you a whole different perspective. And that's where, our slogan isn't just a slogan. Our presence is what allows us to have perspective. And then we get to invite peace if that's what we choose. So the interesting thing was Janice reached out to me last night as I was sitting on the couch preparing for the show. And she was like, "I'm struggling about the show this week. I'm not sure what's going on or what it's about. And I'm thinking, I'm struggling too. I wonder what that was about. And I was immediately reminded to remind both of us that don't fight it. This is the way we're feeling. We can acknowledge the way we're feeling and observe it. Be the observer of the emotion. What is it? And you can ask the questions if they come up, which we did. We're like, okay, so what are we struggling with? Do we not have the energy to put out there to this week? Do we not have? And it was like, no. And I know for me, I just kind of let it, all right, well, this is the way I'm feeling. Let's see what happens. I keep reminding myself more and more that emotions are temporary. I observe them, acknowledge them, feel them. They go away. They pass through. So whatever resistance I was having for the show last night, I allowed it to be. I didn't judge it. I didn't pick it apart with a fine-tooth comb. I just let it be. And because I was starting before, Janice, you don't know this. We didn't talk about this before you reached out. I was really like, holy crap, I don't have anything to say tomorrow. Nothing's coming to me. I'm not finding any quirky memes that are triggering any kind of thought streams. And I'm like, am I just done? Do I just need a break? What does all this mean? And I started to spin a story in my head. So divine timing, I get that text from Janice and I was like, okay, it's not just me. I'm not alone. What does Janice always say? You're not alone. I was not alone.
Interesting.
And in that, I was able to allow myself to, okay, the reminder to be the observer. I don't need to pick it apart. I just need to let it be what it is. And boy, did that help everything. A couple things came to mind after I took that position. And then I just let it go. I'm like, okay, well, that's enough for now. Yet when I woke up this morning, I got more information to chat about today. So that's, the most recent example of when you don't fight it and allow it to be without that conflict, then resolution comes.
Wow.
So what was your experience,
Janice? My version of that was, oh my gosh, it's funny. I was started yesterday as I was just going through the YouTubes every once in a while. I go through them. I like to see if we get a boost with them. And I like to see if they've been boosted yet, just to make sure what we pay for we get. And I was like, oh, wow, even with the boost, our numbers are like half. And I was like, oh, man, look at Mel. Maybe we're not reaching people. Maybe we're not giving a message that wants to be heard. And then I go a little further, as my story goes, is who do you think you are, really putting yourself out there like that anyway? Who wants to hear it? And, and then I go into the old fear place. So like if we're doing it, fighting it feeds it, is I go right back into the place where the fear comes from, right? Instead of stopping. But how I deal with things is I kind of shut it down, put it away. So it's like, it just lingers. It's not a real full thought. So I don't have time to think it through or to stop it. And it just lingers, like it's just hanging there. But yeah, it's probably a couple days ago, because I think it's been a couple days now, just lingering until this morning when I had my me time. And I was like, is this because of those numbers? Mm-hmm. And I said, so I can choose. It's the same thing. Oh, look, you're putting yourself out there. I said, yeah, okay. But we never cared about the numbers. Well, we didn't start off caring about the numbers. And it was just to help us. And so it doesn't matter. And maybe this is just a time of year where people are out in the sun enjoying themselves and not spending as much time. So I had I was trying to turn it around, because my story brought me into I can't do this. I'm burnt out. This is it. I'm not, I'm not needed, in the big picture. Oh, Judy probably should just get somebody else now. And I went in the whole same place. And, but I did stop finally. And I tried to do an alternate story. I didn't necessarily believe it, but I tried an alternate story. And then, okay, so, all right, we're doing it today. We'll just do it. And then Judy says, well, they haven't been boosted yet. And I'm like, those are the numbers before the boost? Really? Wow.
Mhm.
So that's see, I was ready to turn, turn in the microphone because of a story that I've always fed about how I'm worthless or who do I think, who do I think I am, and I fed it my whole life without
Mhm.
really realizing it, and
Mhm.
I was feeding it for the last few days until I stopped, and then I gave it an alternative story because this the other thing is here. What's the facts? The facts is to me was our numbers are down like almost half. When we started, non-boosted numbers were like 20. So I
Exactly. Sometimes they were 7.
that's right. And I forgot what I was going to say.
Numbers were half.
Oh yeah, and then so we come on the show, and I mentioned to Judy, and she said, "Yeah, those weren't even boosted." So I created this whole story, and I could have easily just stopped doing this. All right, Judy, I'm not the best person anymore. Why don't you go find someone else? And I would have done that. I coulda, woulda. I mean, I think I'm healthy enough that I wasn't doing it. I felt this way once before, and I think I said, you're in a place right now where you're just feeling bad about yourself. Just put it away. It's not relevant right now. So I was trying to do that, but
Mhm.
I could have and would have in the past easily just kept on going. And so what, fear of failure too? I'm going to quit before I fail.
Mhm.
Worse. So so I just thought that was a perfect story for fighting it feeds it. Just what I went through just for this show today.
So my question to you is, what made you text me last night?
Well, I think you probably knew that I wasn't doing any good. Maybe you wanted to find a new co-host, so I was introducing the idea.
You were giving me an out.
Yeah, because you probably didn't want me as a co-host anyway.
Wow. Okay.
Surprise.
Okay. Now, it's interesting though, because the last time you felt that way, I didn't get a text. I didn't find out until we were having a conversation after you had spun that whole story. And then you just came right out and said, you don't want a different co-host, do you? And I was like, no, where did that come from? And you were like, well, I was.
Yeah, I
So
recognize I'm
glad
doing
you
it
actually
now.
reached out. So
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't want to come as a surprise.
now, how did you feel when you got the reminder to observe what you were feeling and experiencing and just sit with it?
I was thinking, it's not ready to be looked at. It's still over there. Until this morning, then I could. Then
Right.
I thought your words again.
Perfect. And that's just, that's just another way of showing everybody that everybody deals with it differently. For me, it was a great reminder right away. Whereas for you, you had to sit with it a little longer until you were ready to look at it and think in a different way.
Yep.
Because at this point, you've been through the process enough to know that when you do look at it, it means there's a choice. And if we're not
Yeah.
ready to make a choice, then we keep it on the shelf. And is that it's so funny when clients are like, did I do it wrong? Was I bad? There is no right or wrong. There is no good or bad. It just is. And when we can start, where is it? I have notes all over my desk here. And one of them is, oh, this was a good one. I saw it in a post this week. I don't want to take credit for any of it. Octavia Vasile, she posted a long thing, but I pulled some nuggets out of it. And, this is about, we've been so conditioned to reject parts of us, and we've been so conditioned to hide our wounds and to judge our edges, that you come on this show. One of the things I love about you most is you come on the show and you're real. It's not your job to release every deep emotion that you're feeling, but you share with everyone when you're struggling. We share with everyone, we were honest. We were struggling with the show today. You share your experience. And just the fact that you are willing to do that, you're willing to put yourself out there and allow people to learn through you. It's such a beautiful thing. So when I read, one of the things that we can start to, when we make that choice to shift and stop fighting, is I love the parts of me that I've rejected. Think about that. Being able to, in those moments when you're having self-doubt, and I love the parts of me that I've rejected because they've made me who I am today. I love the wounds that I've hidden because they've made me who I am today. I love the edges that I've judged because they too have made me who I am today. Not just when it's easy, when we can sit here and laugh about it, but when it's hard and when I'm healing. So that whole story that you're spinning, you know that that's a pattern that you have. You also understand now that that's a pattern you allow to play out until you're ready to choose something different. And that's beautiful because you're not fighting against the pattern. You're seeing it for what it is, allowing it to be, and then choosing a different way when you're ready. And I don't know what sums up fighting it, feeds it any better than that. Because if Janice chooses to stay in that story of Judy doesn't want me as a co-host, she doesn't think I have anything to offer, I'm not good enough to be here, my lessons mean nothing to everyone else. If she chooses to stay in that story, she feeds it, and that story builds and builds, and the energy gets behind it. And before you know it, Janice is right back to nobody loves me and I'm not worthy of love.
Yeah, it's true.
But what does Janice do now? Janice chooses something different. She plays out. It's like what I'm seeing is you play out the story, but there isn't, yes, there's still some emotion attached to it, but it's not nearly as much as what used to be.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true.
Mm-hmm. And that's what happens. It's not like it changes overnight. It's not like cold turkey is what I'm hearing. It's not like, these things stop cold turkey and all of a sudden she's healed because she has awareness now. No, we don't fight those parts of us that for some reason still need to spin that story. We just don't go as deep. And I think both of us have talked about this before, where we would get triggered in the past and it could send us in a tailspin of shitty stories for days and weeks. Now it can be hours. Now it can be minutes.
Yeah.
And understanding, because one of the things, and we did a whole show based on Janice judging herself for numbing out. Janice doesn't numb out anymore. Janice consciously puts things on the shelf. That's a huge difference. Whereas before, there was a wall made of steel with big locks on it. Now it's simply choosing to put it on the shelf. I'll address it once I get done spinning the story. And what a beautiful thing for you to share with our viewers.
Cool. I didn't really notice that, but that's exactly what happened and what happened. And yeah.
Oh, look, there I am again.
Jen is participating. She's given us a little message and it says, which I'm sure Sylvia will put back up so I can read it.
No? Can we see that again, Silveria?
There we go. Thank you. It says, thank you both for sharing your healing journeys, both where you've come from and the live in the moment struggle. It's so brave and beautiful and encouraging. Aw, thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Oh, okay. See, we do matter. Somebody is listening.
It doesn't matter that if you talk loud enough, she can hear you in the next room, right?
Exactly. I'm sure anybody who, isn't watching the show and maybe just seeing this image is like, why is Judy commenting on her own show? That's hilarious. Thank you so much, Jen. And this is a perfect place for us to take a quick commercial break.
Wow.
I know. We will be right back.
Thanks.
And welcome back to Now, where presence invites perspective and allows peace. We were jamming out to the commercial song.
I have to say, it is catchy.
It's
It
very
does make me want to do a little. I was watching in the screen. I was moving my shoulders. Dee, 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 dee. I said, "Oh, this hurts, but I can do it now. It hurts, hurts, hurts. Yeah, I can do it."
She's getting her shoulder dancing back. Today's topic is fighting it feeds it. And we were talking about Janice and how she moves through cycles, and awareness has given her the tools and the power to allow the story to play out and then take it down off the shelf when she's ready to make a different choice. So, and that goes for all of us. And it's interesting because when this topic came up last month and fighting it feeds it, I was thinking more on a global level, community level, and how we fight cancer and the war against drugs and the blah, 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 blah. And then that's why you can't solve or heal a trauma in the same energy in which it's created. When it's created in conflict, fighting against, there is no resolution because we're fighting against it. What can we do to create the outcome that we want? Fighting against it is not going to give us the outcome. So, of course, I'm thinking on those levels. But like Janice and I were saying in the pregame, everything boils down to our relationship with us. If we are fighting against things within ourselves, we will continue to think that fighting is the way to make change in the external.
My gosh, I didn't even think of that. I mean, this is like a few years ago. I was caught up fighting what was happening, around globally, within our country, and it was part of what brought me in a really bad place. And I never thought of it as fighting it, but totally, that's what it was. And then it feeds it. Yeah, totally, it fed it. And not only that, is then people that's when they get the more diversity, going against each other and more posing. Yeah. And the whole, what it created and fed really just wasn't pretty. It was not healthy. It was not good. And so that is so true. I didn't think of it in terms of that, but yeah. Now I might feel the same way about a person, but I don't feed it. I don't make it bigger than it is. I don't do black and white with everything about it. And I've tried over the years now. I really understand a lot more, and I look into the points of views in that before I didn't. Because I was busy fighting what really ends up being just like maybe one little thing that happened, or lots more than one, but this thing that happened that would just trigger me, and it was just whoa. But boy, I mean, that's a big statement on our society right now, our culture. I see a lot of people getting away from it though, which is great.
Yes, it's wonderful.
I'm into true crime now, and we have these trials. And people say, "Oh, I can't have the trial here because everyone knows about this, and we have to move to another county." And do you know But they did like this survey, or someone did this thing. People aren't watching the news anymore. So it was interesting because it's like, how do people get the news now? You're in an algorithm that gives you certain stories,
Mhm.
or you don't go to the news at all. So
Mhm.
people, that was really refreshing to know that there's a certain group that now are saying, I'm not going to fight.
Yeah.
Which I think you might say some other things on the other side that maybe aren't good, but we're not going there. We're going with the fighting feeds it, because that's exactly what's happened.
Mhm. Yeah. We were talking about, Janice and I have talked about this before. One of the biggest lessons I learned, especially over the past 6 years, is choosing a side makes you part of the problem. It's not about choosing a side, because once you determine your side is right and the other side is wrong, then there's conflict. And where there is conflict, there is no peace. So if peace is your goal, conflict isn't involved. That's why, the war on peace. What does that even mean? Are we fighting against peace because we don't want peace? Well, that's what it seems like. That's what's showing out there.
That's what war means.
When we are born into this world, a little beautiful baby, I have 2 babies in my family now that, is reminding me of all this. We're born this beautiful bundle of love and joy and unconditional love. And it's
Mm.
funny, this morning it came to me, the 3 C's. We're born complete. We are born courageous, and we are born with curiosity. I mean, that's how babies learn. And each time they get more mobile, their world expands. When you go from, laying on a floor, an activity mat, on your belly and on your tummy, you get to see what you can see close to you. But once you start to crawl, your world expands. So there's more to learn. Then when you can walk, it gets even bigger. So, we're born in that natural state of completeness. We're born with curiosity. We're born with the courage because we don't know any better. We are taught division. We are taught distraction. And we are taught desperation. We are not born with those things. Those are the things that we are taught through family beliefs, societal beliefs, and experiences. So it's proving to be more and more every day. This healing work that we do has nothing to do with, being broken. We're not fixing what's broken. We're allowing what no longer aligns with love to leave us, because we are here to love and be loved. We are here to show each other kindness and respect. And that's not to say that there is someone that we don't necessarily, that just doesn't align with how we express ourselves in our lives. It doesn't mean that I have to go and welcome that person into my energy. What it means is, when I'm with them, I provide them kindness and respect. Why? Because they're a human being. Because they're another living being here just doing the best they can. And we go back to the 4 agreements. Janice and I go back to the resources we use, the 4 agreements. Don't take things personally. That's a big one. Everybody is fighting their own battles. We don't know what everybody is experiencing. So to assume that how they behave is about us, there's that arrogant word again. It's arrogance. Life for me was much smoother once my daughter and I established, your attitude, I'm going to assume it's not about me unless you say it is. It's your job to tell me if I've done something to trigger you, upset you. And I've told the story before. She was, I don't know, 9, 10 maybe, when I started to learn about triggers and all those kind of things. So I was talking to her about it too. And she would just walk around the house and be like, I'm triggered. It was great that she learned to identify that, And it's, we aren't broken. We aren't broken as people. We don't need to be fixed. We need a society that supports curiosity, courage, and completeness. We don't need a society that encourages us to pick sides. That, because so-and-so is thinner than me, she's better than me. Because I come from this part of the world, I'm better than somebody that comes from that part of the world. We don't have to entertain opposites, is all I keep hearing. They pit us against one another. And people are like, who are they? The people that come out with societal norms. They encourage us to fight against one another because that keeps us distracted. And when we're distracted, we're easily controlled, which that puts us in a state of desperation. That's what survival mode is. We desperately have to make money to support our families. We desperately want to feel seen, loved, heard, accepted. We desperately want to experience joy, although some of us forget what joy feels like because it's been so long since we've experienced it. So it's not about fixing the broken parts. It's about becoming whole again, bringing all those parts of us that we rejected, that we hid, that we judged, love them back to wholeness. Gratitude, because those survival techniques got us to where we are. Spinning a story is a survival technique that Janice used. She's not rejecting it. She didn't hide it. She speaks about it here on the show. And we're working on her not judging it. She brings it down, she looks at it, she makes another choice. That's beautiful. The harshest judge we have is the judgments we cast upon ourselves. When we can be aware that that's what we're doing, we have the choice to stop the judging. And it's not about fighting it. Awareness is not fighting. Awareness is allowing. One of the biggest things as I'm guiding people through this process is being the non-judgmental observer. And I know we've talked about it a million times on the show. It serves so many purposes, but the biggest one is just allowing you to be who you are. And then with curiosity, finding out why. Why does Janice feel comfort in spinning a story that she's not enough?
It makes me feel like I've got control of the situation and I can leave it so before it leaves me.
There you go.
That's why.
Mm-hmm. So why, and then that leads to another question. Why does Janice feel she needs control over every situation?
Well, because the opposite is chaos.
And that's what we've been taught. You either control the situation or you are controlled. That's what we've been taught. Okay. So we're going to challenge you and me and all of our listeners to let's stop thinking about it as control and out of control and thinking about it as allowing. We can allow a situation to be what it is. Because control is just an illusion. And if it's based on the belief that I'm going to get out of this before I'm kicked out of it, then we know it's coming from a place of lack. A lack of love for yourself, a lack of value for yourself, and a lack of belief in the fact that I have something to offer. Okay. Wow. I didn't expect all of that to come out.
That was deep.
It was. Wow. Okay. Um, okay. Wow. I just kind of lost myself. So yes, all of that to say energy flows where our attention goes. So where is your attention? If your life is one big bag of suck, just ask yourself, what am I focusing on? Am I focusing constantly and consistently on how bad my life sucks? Or am I asking what I can do to bring some light, some love, some joy into my life?
Is my life just a big bag of sucks? I'm just so sorry. That's a riot. Oh, too, if you're in that place where you do think your life's that way, thinking, just makes me think a way to kind of help get through it is just say, my life is a big bag of sucks. And you might laugh, and then it might might just get you out of that rut for a minute, because that just worked for me.
Perfect.
Okay.
And that is, admitting the way I'm experiencing life right now, and it freaking sucks. Okay. Being able to speak that reality. I had a session this past week, as a spinal flow session with one of my friends, Marianne, and we have people in our lives that are going to help trigger thoughts and bring awareness to us if we are open to that. And she looked at me and she said, you need to know that your worry is being disguised as anger. And I was like, well, I do know that anger is my safe emotion. And I was like, okay, because I did find myself feeding frustration. I was feeling frustrated all of a sudden and irritated. And I was putting more energy into, like, who the fuck are you to have a right to be angry or frustrated or upset? What are you angry and upset about? Blah, 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 blah. You got this life, and what the hell's wrong with you? I was feeding into, I don't have a right to. And then having the awareness that, okay, so I'm putting some lipstick on a pig and I'm making worry anger because that's what I'm most comfortable with. Okay, well, what am I worried about? I was able to look at what I'm worried about, and then also understand that the more energy I feed into that worry, the more I'm telling the universe that this is the result I want. So I'm like, no, I don't want that to happen. That's like worst case scenario. I don't want worst case scenario. I want best case scenario. So, okay, I'm going to feed my energy into best case scenarios. Like, Janice, we're going to use you as an example again. Your shoulder. You were like, you have parts of you that are like, what happens if I only get 30% of my strength back and my mobility? If she continues to feed energy into 30% is the best it's going to be, well, then 30% will be the best she gets. So she is real with herself. She's telling herself the truth. The facts are she might only get 30%, or she could get this. So what's the best case scenario for Janice? To feed only the 30% or to feed best case scenarios?
Well, I know when you're feeding the 30% thought, or the concept, is you're miserable and unhappy, and your physical and mental health is shot. You just, or for me, if it's I shut down or whatever I do, as long as I'm feeding that at the need to be unhealthy, make unhealthy choices, to shut down or to eat or to whatever, it's stronger.
Yeah. It's that we stay in that lower vibration. So it's not about ignoring the fact that, yes, that is a concern of Janice's, but Janice is choosing. The second we make the choice, that position of empowerment, to feed the best case scenario and to speak that into the cells of our body, to speak that into the universe, to speak that, put the words out there, and the universe starts to conspire to make sure that happens. Your body is listening. The cells of your body are listening. They're used to hearing crappy things. Mine are, I was terrible to myself the majority of my life. So these new things that I'm saying, speaking love into my body, is new. My cells are like, yeah, right. So it's that repetition over and over and over again. That's what we need for those neurons to create new pathways for new understanding. And we create the new pattern. So again, we're not saying ignore anything lower vibrational. We're just saying your awareness of it and choosing to feed your energy elsewhere is what helps shift your reality. Because when you bring peace within yourself and you are no longer at conflict with yourself, that peace settles in, and then you start to notice peace settling in around you. I know we've shown that we've done a whole show about unmoved, that piece of art. When you can remain at peace while the world around you, which is happening right now, is in pure chaos, you are in a very empowered place. Where there is conflict, there is no peace. When we seek the peaceful resolution within us, it comes forward. So remember, be the non-judgmental observer of your emotions and remind yourself that all emotions are temporary. The good, the bad, the ugly, they're all temporary. They're meant to flow. And when you focus on the fight is what you'll get. The fight is what you'll get. I'm sorry, Janice, you look like you were going to say something.
No, I was going to go. We only have a few minutes left now. I know you can tell when my energy shifts to tell you. I was thinking I don't have to tell her because she's going to see my energy shift.
Excellent. Excellent. Any parting thoughts for our friends? You live in action. You and I both have just experienced in the 24 hours. Fighting it feeds it. We've experienced it.
I love the curiosity. For me, that just helps me so much. Yeah. So being curious. Wow, what the heck's going on there? Why did I feel that? It works. I mean, it's one of the things most likely to work.
Yeah. Yeah, because once you're curious, then the judge, our judge and our critic and all that, take a time out. We can invite them to get curious too. Yeah. Just perfect. That's absolutely perfect. Making sure. Okay. Oh, one other thing I read right before the show is belief. An old pattern of belief could be a family tradition, societal belief. Belief says, I think this is it. And then your experience is built around it. Whereas when we sit in the place of curiosity, courage, and creation says, let me see what I can bring forth. So belief says, I think this is what it is. And then that's what the universe gives us. Whereas creation says, it's open, it's expansive. Let me see what we can bring forward.
That's great.
All right. I believe that's it. That's all we got for you today. As always, we want to thank you for choosing to be here now with us. Please always remember,
you are not alone.
And don't ever forget, you are awesome.
Bye, everybody. Thank